Hi, hello, welcome. I'm Ruth. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving break filled with food, family, fun, and friends. In the season of giving thanks, I also wanted to give a big thank you to Book Publicity Services Inc., Kelsey, and the author Magda Mizzi for providing me with another book to share my thoughts and do a review on. So thank you so much. If you feel that author's name sounds familiar, you are correct. I also did another video in her other series called The Tyranny of Tomorrow in her Fractured Reality series. So please check that video out if you haven't done so already. This book that I'll be talking about is called Dawn in Ruins, and this is part of her Distorted Horizon series. So both of these books are set in the same universe, in a post-apocalyptic universe, set in Australia as well, but two kind of different stories. So Dawn in Ruins, we follow some new characters named Annie and Jude. They're both young adults. And you'll find out in the synopsis when you read a little bit about it, but you'll find out that Jude is an infected person. And so Annie has to figure out if she wants to put her life and trust into Jude in surviving in this new zombie world, or does she leave and survive on her own. So those are the things that you'll have to find out when you read this book. Both set in Australia, and they are currently dealing with a flu outbreak, and whoever gets infected become violent. So these patients are called violent flu patients, or VFP for short. This story is a little bit different because I thought that this series focused more on the emotional side of the characters in developing their backstory more and focusing on, just more of the emotions of surviving versus being action packed. There's some, exciting action scenes, but I think majority of it is spent on building this world and really detailing every scenario, or wherever the characters are, the author really details out where they are, especially when you go to this area that is meaningful but not meaningful to Jude. I'll leave it at that because I don't want to give away too much, but you'll know what I mean if once you read those portions of the story. Another thing the author does well is, of course, aside from showing the author's emotions, she really goes in depth with their thought process and kind of ties it back to some of the baggage that they are still dealing with. And one of those passages I thought really supports what I feel is this one here. Most visitors admired the photos, trophies, and artworks, but beneath the surface, those shelves held more than memories. They carried expectations too, the silent pressure to always be enough, never quite meeting her father's stern gaze or his whispered criticism after every lost fight or failed grade. The constant reminder that she was supposed to be tougher, better, stronger, like the son he'd wanted, not the daughter struggling to meet his standards. Can you imagine feeling this way and then like in a normal world, and then your world is turned upside down and you're carrying this baggage into this new unknown world? Your anxiety is going to be up the roof, the feeling of helplessness, being inadequate, those are all going to compound in a very stressful environment, or can be triggered too. There's a lot of reflection that goes on in the characters, which I really like because, again, reinforces the fact that this story feels more emotional than the other series. I also think that a couple male characters in these books are my favorite. So I have two named Brian and then the main character Jude. I think the way they just carry themselves in stressful situations, always trying to make sure that everyone else is okay and thinking about them last. So I really just like that they have that selflessness and sacrificing mentality, always thinking for the better of the group. So I like that they have that quality, and it gives the group stability, in a sense, and normalcy. So that's why I think that's such a great quality that they have. And their morals too, they try to stick with their morals during a very tough time. I always have to remind myself that these are young adults, and even adults can make irrational decisions, be erratic in certain situations. So I had to remind myself that. But for a good chunk of the book, Annie was getting on my nerves just a little bit. And there's a couple situations that happen in the book that makes me think that way about her. But I don't want to say like I disliked her, but she was not my favorite character, I will say. Um, Overall, I do enjoy this book. It's a different pacing and beat than her other book, but thoroughly, I still enjoyed it. 4 stars for me. Please let me know your thoughts. If you read this book, please let me know. Did you have a favorite character? Maybe you didn't have a favorite character. What was your favorite part? Please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Happy reading!